Now, one of the main issues that feeds into this and comes out of it that you touch on, Robin, is sources of information. I want to turn to you, Nolan. Here we are in the Disinfo Detox world. How is it that there are longshoremen, that there are waitresses, there are secretaries, there are CEOs in many parts of the world who've got some appreciation of what's actually going on here when there is such a bourgeois media, basically propaganda regime in place? Well, where are the places that you encourage your students, your listeners, your viewers, your family members, your loved ones to get hold of, John Lennon said it, just give me some truth.
Yeah, it's a fabulous question, and to add context into answering it, and this kind of builds on what Robin was saying. Certainly, we're getting more and more polling out about how people in the United States actually feel, and it's becoming increasingly obvious that a substantial portion, in some cases a majority, depending on how the question is asked, are opposed to the United States' support of Israel. They do feel pain for the plight of the Gazans. They do support two-state solutions. A lot of things that directly contradict the narrative of U.S. media is the agreed upon position of most Americans. So I think that that's an important element to add here, because the media system has largely ignored it. And back to Robin's point about this being the legacy of Biden, um, during the Biden years, Democrats took great comfort in the fact the legacy media protected them from any questions about Gaza. Trump and Republicans did go into the digital media space and, of course, lied, but made it, at least a plausible that they were going to end the war. They were willing to go in the space and hinted things like that. I mean, those of us who pay attention to politics and media knew that it was bullshit from the start, but it was something that gave some folks hope, and some folks were willing to take a crack at the Trump administration. Now you see Democrats realizing that they have to enter this digital media space. This is where people are at. And when they enter this space, they're really caught off guard by the fact that people just openly refer to what's going on in Gaza as a genocide. It's not even up for debate in a lot of these podcasts, because it was debated a year and a half ago for a lot of these spaces. And Democrats have looked pretty dismal, to say the least. I mean, Alyssa Slotkin got embarrassed on breaking points when her own previous statements were used against her. Richie Torres, looked like a total vapid identitarian when he went on like the Adam Friedland show. And you can go on and on. Pete Buttigieg on Pod Save America, and Pod Save America is made to support Democrats in the digital space, and Buttigieg could wrestled with Israel on that show. So I think a lot of Democrats are starting to wake up to the fact that there is nowhere to hide. But of course, they're stuck between this age-old rock and a hard place for Democrats, between doing what's morally right and what their base wants and what their donors want, the people who pay the money for them to exist. And I think that's the critical difference. But I will say that some folks in media have actually realized this. I know it wasn't really popular, but I'm blanking on her name, but Clarissa from CNN, she did a video where she was walking down the street talking about how she knew the media was not covering this story correctly, and that there are people inside CNN and the mainstream press who are lobbying to get a more kind of fair picture painted of this war, and they're getting pushed back. Megyn Kelly kind of said something in the same effect. I know these are not good actors. These are folks from corporate media, but the very fact they're at least feeling like they have to say it, I think points to the fact that they know the public is starting to smell the BS here. So I take some confidence in that. As far as recommended sources, and I've said this before, and I think it's really weird, but like, I think Haaretz does some of like the best reporting. It's an Israeli publication, but I found it a lot more useful than a lot of U.S. Mainstream publications. Of course, I think Al Jazeera does some great stuff in there. I think independent journalists, particularly like Mint Press News and others, do some great work in these spaces. So I would clearly recommend that. And then, of course, we'd be remiss we didn't say, because they're on the call. I mean, Robin Andersen has done a great job, and way before it was a lot more inviting to talk about these things. A year plus ago, Robin was saying these exact same critiques to basically an audience that didn't want to listen to Robin. Now I think more folks are listening, but Robin has really been on this since the beginning. And so I would also encourage folks to follow Robin Andersen's work.